Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best AMD Ryzen laptops.
Starting at number 5.
Lenovo Legion 5. The Lenovo Legion 5 Pro is a rare achievement, a gaming laptop under $1,500 that we wholeheartedly recommend. I was shocked at the quality of the hardware from top to bottom. So often, cheap gaming laptops feel like plastic toys, but not so for the Legion 5 Pro, which has a sturdy chassis and a satisfyingly tactile and clicky keyboard. Another common price-cutting measure on cheap gaming laptops is the display. Once again, the Legion 5 Pro kicks the trend with a 16-inch, 2560 by 1600 pixel display at up to 165 Hz that beats the mainstream gaming laptop average for color gamut and display brightness. All of that would be wasted if it couldn't perform, but the Legion 5 Pro again rises to the challenge. It beat every mainstream gaming laptop we pitted it against in graphics tests with its RTX 4070. Its frames per second in Borderlands 3, Badass 1080p, 110 frames per second, Far Cry 6, Ultra 1080p, 97 frames per second, Red Dead Redemption, Medium 1080p, 78 frames per second, and Metro Exodus, Extreme 1080p, 53 frames per second, proved itself exceptionally against other laptops with an RTX 4070. It consistently outdid the Razer Blade 14, 98 frames per second, 85 frames per second, 73 frames per second, 48 frames per second, Origin EON 16S, 106 frames per second, 99 frames per second, 75 frames per second, 50 frames per second, and MSI Katana 15, 99 frames per second, 94 frames per second, 72 frames per second, 48 frames per second, proving the Legion 5 Pro is almost always on top. While its display is far from perfect, it's surprisingly competent for a gaming laptop at this price. I've tested gaming laptops that avoid pouring quality into the panel, but the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro manages an 82.4% coverage of the DCI P3 color gamut. We recommend anywhere between 80 and 100%, even expensive gaming laptops can drop below 80%.
Coming at number 4.
Asus ROG Zephyrus. The Asus ROG Zephyrus Duo 16 is a beautiful monstrosity with the most bizarre deck layout we've ever seen. Still, against all odds, the design works perfectly for anyone with a multitask-heavy workflow. Why is it a beautiful monstrosity, you ask? It's beautiful because it has a striking dual-screen design with a 16-inch, QHD+, mini LED main display and an edge-to-edge secondary panel that works in tandem to deliver multitasking harmony. On the other hand, it's a monstrosity because this gnarly, 6-pound gaming laptop requires you to tear down any preconceived notions of what you think a laptop should look like. The keyboard and touchpad, for example, are not where you expect them to be, forcing you to get accustomed to a new lay of the land, if you will. Packed with top-of-the-line specs, including an AMD Ryzen 9 7945HX CPU, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 GPU with 16GB of VRAM, and 32GB of RAM, the Duo 16 will set your bank account aflame with a price tag nearing $5,000. However, the Asus gaming laptop will be an excellent investment for those who constantly cross-reference documents for work. This chunky money is a major time saver.
At number 3.
HP Envy X360. The HP Envy X360 2-in-1 is an excellent 2-in-1 that balances affordability with quality to provide a phenomenal productivity experience. And for those desperate to have their display take them to another world, this OLED panel will blow your mind. It's built with an AMD Ryzen 7 7730U processor, 16GB of RAM, 1TB of SSD storage, AMD Radeon integrated graphics, and a 15.6-inch 1920x 1080-pixel OLED touchscreen. On the Geekbench 5.5 overall performance test, the Envy X360 achieved a multi-core score of 7,748. This is solid overall and puts it above the 7,469 mainstream laptop average. You can expect good but not fantastic productivity performance, especially when Intel Meteor Lake processors hit as high as 12,000. On the laptop mag battery test, which involves continuous web surfing over Wi-Fi at 150 nits, the NVX360 lasted 9 hours and 17 minutes. We generally recommend laptops lasting between 9 and 10 hours, and the NVX360 is technically in that range, but it is also below the category average of 9 hours and 44 minutes. The true star of the show here is the NVX360's 15.6-inch OLED display. While it is only 1080p, which could be a deal breaker for some, the vibrancy of its panel is glorious. It reproduced 128.1% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, which is seriously colorful. We typically recommend anything in the 80 to 100% range, with anything over just being an additional bonus. Especially considering the category average is 85.5%, this is fantastic. Its 378 nits of brightness is also pretty good, but admittedly in a far more normal range, as the category average is 353 nits.
Number 2 of my list.
Razer Blade 14. Not only is the Razer Blade 14 the best AMD Ryzen powered gaming laptop you can buy, but we'd argue it's the best gaming laptop you can buy. The only exception would be those who need something in a budget category or want a blindingly fast 4090 GPU. Still, this laptop is a jack of all trades for many gamers, delivering powerful gaming and productivity performance, a gorgeously vivid and bright display, a sturdy aluminum chassis, punchy audio, and excellent battery life. It lasted 8 hours and 35 minutes in Laptop Mag's battery life test, which is unprecedented considering most gaming laptops we test cannot get anywhere near the 8-hour mark. And it's packed with an AMD Ryzen 9-7940HS processor, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 GPU with 8GB of VRAM, 16GB of RAM, 1TB of M.2 PCIe SSD storage space, and a gorgeous 14-inch QHD plus 240Hz, 2560x 1600 pixel display. The Razer Blade 14 also absolutely crushed it in our performance tests, managing a multi-core score of 11,121 on the Geekbench 5.5 benchmark thanks to its powerful AMD Ryzen 9-7940HS processor. The SSD's 1,230 MB per second transfer rate also ensures you won't be left behind when moving files from one place to another. Its display is also phenomenally bright and vivid. Its 114.3% coverage of the DCI-P3 color gamut is staggering for an IPS panel, and its 465 nits of brightness ensures you can take this thing on the go and game in peace without worrying about the sun ruining your experience with too much glare.
And number 1.
Asus Zenbook 14. The Asus Zenbook 14 OLED is an easy pick for the best AMD laptop in 2024. For under $1,000, you get a gorgeous sharp display, solid performance, and over 11 hours of battery life. It's all impressive at this price point, but I need to pay special attention to that display immediately. It is a 2.8K OLED touchscreen that will leave you feeling like you got away with something when you unbox it and power it on for the first time. The excellent Harman Kardon-tuned speakers flesh out the Zenbook's resume as a streaming media center when you need to watch content on the go. If productivity is your primary concern, the Zenbook 14 OLED is up to the challenge, too, with solid performance and a fantastic keyboard that allowed our reviewer to blow past his average typing speed. For spreadsheet aficionados, the Zenbook's touchpad can convert into a number pad with a single tap. The Asus Zenbook 14 OLED also benefits from solid Geekbench 6 performance for such an affordable laptop, managing a multi-core score of 7,785. This is a bit lower than the mainstream laptop average of 9,189. If you need more power or a bigger screen, we've got options for you on this page, but for around $800, the Asus Zenbook 14 OLED ticks all the boxes for typical laptop users, and that's why it is our pick for the best overall AMD laptop.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.